Ishan, good morning.
Good morning, sir. How are you, sir?
I'm good. How are you doing today?
Very good, sir.
All right, I'd like to ask some questions. Are you ready?
Absolutely, sir.
All right. How you have evolved after selection? I mean, I'd be very curious to know. You young boy into service, how you have evolved as a person.
Uh, Sir, I would say in three primary ways. One is, sir, that having come into service, attributes of professionalism, such as maintaining timelines, doing work in a timely manner, and maintaining standards of submissions, etc. Second thing is, sir, after getting selected, I took EOL, and this has helped me become very persistent and consistent. Because as a student, I would be inconsistent sometimes and relied on just academic cramming, etc., rather than being a very consistent person who can deliver the same output every day. Lastly, sir, exposure to lots of new people from new regions. So that has opened my mind up. So,
All right. But how do I understand that you made for IAS your first option? I mean, what characteristics that you possess that you think that better than IT, I would be suited to civil services, IAS? What traits in you?
sir, I would say that I'm also finding the IT to be quite a good fit and it's a wonderful service. Certain characteristics predispose me to be perhaps a better IAS officer. The first is, sir, empathy and people to people connect. I like interacting to people and talking to them directly, solving their problems and so on. The second is my love and inclination for problem solving. So IT also has very technocratic intellectual problems of interpretation, but the IAS goes into the lives of people and looks at their problems of education, health, sanitation, and so on, and gives a broader framework or broader canvas where I think I could do better.
All right, my best wishes. But I was very, I don't know which word to use, those intrigued rather, when I saw that you also have opted for custom. I'm not surprised in IPS and IFS and IAS, but customs also you have chosen. Why you want to make a shift in the uh, revenue services only?
Sir, I would say that this choice was made much before I had started training. And it was advised by my well-wishers that in case not everybody's cut out for every service, in case you feel that this is not a good fit, it would be good to have that option. However, now, sir, I would not exercise that option if my rank were in that bracket. And who feel
Hmm.
that the IT is a very stimulating and good service.
I wish you get your first preference only.
Thank you.
Coming out of this, you are a law graduate from probably one of the best places you can ask for. I was very curious to know that how would you use law for your civil services for whatever service that you are in?
Sir, I think one of the biggest uh, duties of civil servants is to uphold the rule of law. That implies having the right legal awareness, the right interpretation of the law, consistent application of the law, as well as a benevolent and interpretation that favors the marginalized and the minority sections and so on. So that is one thing, sir. The second is, sir, knowledge of the law also makes me aware of procedure and procedural things like principles of natural justice to ensure that justice is not just seen but also not just done but seen to be done. Lastly, sir, I would use my understanding of law and from my prep, my understanding of policy at most senior levels to think of more coherent policy responses and then advise the ministries accordingly.
Ishan, let's get a little deeper. Do you understand in our country legal literacy, especially for rural women, uh, particularly amongst those illiterate community, is not very good. I would like you to suggest me how we can promote legal literacy for such set of women.
Yes, sir. In fact, in one of my internships, I worked with tribal rural women and I assessed or tried to assess their legal literacy. And what you're saying, sir, absolutely bears out. It can be quite low. So the first thing we need to do is vernacular translations. Now that we have AI, not only do we need translations, but because literacy itself might be an issue, we need audio compilations. The second thing, sir, we need to do is multimodal audio-visual communication means. So if there are small videos that can be seen on YouTube or WhatsApp, or even if there is less access to the internet, then radio programs and so on, that would really help. And lastly, sir, we need to think of very targeted programs based on who we are talking about. So if you're talking about rural migrant labor, What are the laws that concern them? Should they know their entitlements? If we're talking about tribal women, we must talk about the Forest Rights Act and so on. So we need to bring these targeted interventions, short camps, a few hours, 1 or 2 hours each, with the right placement, the right incentives, getting people, all the logistics managed to bring that about.
All right. But then literacy you just mentioned amongst women is not something we can be happy and proud about. We find there is a high dropout rate of the girl child from the rural government schools in our country. I was wondering if you have got some suggestions as to how we can check that.
Yes, sir. While I cannot recall the exact data, I do remember that there's a lot of dropout when we go from the primary to the secondary school standards. So for primary, we have almost parity in enrollment, but the minute we go to secondary, then go to higher secondary and so on, this drops. Uh, so first thing is behavioral intervention. So we need to reinforce the value of learning and so on. The second is something that Madhya Pradesh already did quite well, which is the Ladli Lakshmi scheme, where at every stage that the girl child progresses to, certain incentives are tied in, and that prevents child marriage, it prevents a whole lot of things, and it helps a lot. So lastly, I would say that we need to very tangibly skill the women who are already going all the way up to the professional level and professional studies to provide good employment opportunities. Because if their labor force participation is not already very high, if other people are looking at these women and saying that, okay, maybe they don't get the best jobs and so on, then there isn't enough of an incentive.
Mm-hmm. Considering you become a, I would say that district magistrate, let's talk one of the posts that you will get as an IS officer, and your area happens to be in aspirational district. What will be the four priority of a young aspirant like you in that district as a district magistrate for an aspirational district?
Yes, sir. I would like to preface this by saying that I would first look at the aspirational district metrics and their dashboard to calibrate, let's say, the order of priority, because different districts might suffer from different problems. But, sir, more generally, sir, the first priority would absolutely be looking at cases of hunger or poverty that is leading to deprivation of hunger, to prevent hunger and malnutrition related deaths, also because it has a spillover effect to health outcomes. So the second would be to look at very prevalent things like anemia, or if there are any infectious diseases, epidemic diseases, and so on, to prevent that. So that would take care of the bare minimum, I would say. So the third would be education, and I would look at primary education. Also, if there are any higher education institutes, I would look at how we can improve these to generate more jobs and employment, so that there is more inflow of income of these people working outside. So lastly, I would say that I would try and uh, work very collaboratively with the municipal corporation and municipal department there to help strengthen grassroots governance as much as possible, so that more representative voices come to the government and we can do better for what the people actually need.
Good to hear. In our country, patent laws are still not something we can be probably be proud of. Uh, there's a lot of violation happens all the time. Patent laws, when I say copyright and all kind of designs and trademark and all those. I was wondering if you can identify that we have made some recent initiative in this direction to have more consciousness and protection of the copyright and patent and all kind of geographical indication, etc.
Uh, yes, sir. I Perhaps I recollect some of these initiatives. So the first one is that we are TRIPS compliant. Not just that, we have also implemented TRIPS plus measures in order to better comply. The second thing is, sir, there is a traditional knowledge digital library to prevent biopiracy that is also compliant with the Biodiversity Act. So the third thing is that various benches, so the Delhi High Court, the Mumbai High Court, they have designated IP benches that have been trying to streamline these processes. Despite that, sir, like you said, compliance remains a challenge.
That's real thing that we have got. All right. I was very curious if you could tell me about contribution of Madhya Pradesh in music.
Yes, sir. So, Madhya Pradesh is home to the Gwalior Gharana. This is a very famous Gharana. It was started by Tansen Saab, and it has had many proponents over the years. And sir, outside of that, sir, I think we've also had contribution to some of the semi-folk or semi-classical forms like Tumri and so on.
Mhm. Is Pandit Ravi Shankar from Madhya Pradesh? Where is he from?
Sir, I believe, and I could be wrong, but I believe he was from Varanasi, sir.
He was from Varanasi. Yeah, I think so. But then probably he has some connection with Madhya Pradesh also. Anyway, we leave that there. Uh, we have a lot of names changing in the recent time. I was just curious to know. I mean, where do you stand as a young bureaucrat of the country?
Um, Sir, I would say that I don't have a principal stance for or against name changing, but I do have a stance on the reasons for name changing. So there can be instances where the demand is coming from the ground up. And if there is, let's say, people's representation and a people's movement, then we should go ahead and change
We
the
can't
name.
fathom it, Bishan. We can't fathom it. We have to go by the government's wishes because they represent the people, isn't it?
Yes, sir. Absolutely, sir. And to the extent it is representative and it is coming out of that, sir, I don't think there's a problem with
I
that.
think one day we should sit down and change all the names, the plunderers and colonizers, and move on in life. What is your opinion on that?
Sir, that actually hits at a much deeper level. I think there is that whole thing of historical plundering and so on, and there are concerns. So there are concerns with regard to monuments and names and whatnot. The larger concerns could be addressed by a Truth and Reconciliation Commission that looks at all of this, and then we could take off some steps. But absolutely, sir, we should get done with it, change the names we have to, and move on, and look at more immediate pressing priorities.
Yeah, that's what I keep happening like this name, that name here and there, and from buildings to monuments to programs to roads to whatnot. I mean, everywhere we have got this whole issue is there. A lot of energy is diverted there. All right,
Yes.
I was wondering if you have formed up your views on hijab in the educational institutions and the big role that we have got.
Yes, sir. So, uh, for the Karnataka case, I believe the Supreme Court gave a split opinion. So, there was an opinion on either side. I would actually say that I can understand that the government is coming from a very well-intentioned, let's say, motto of uniformity in dressing and not bringing religious symbols into the public sphere. But, sir, my only concern with that initiative is that when we look at which girls are coming in wearing hijabs, some of them might be coming in with their choice, or maybe they can change their choice, but a lot of them would be coming in owing to family constraints from more orthodox backgrounds. Now, the minute we do away with things like hijab or even parda, which is there in Rajasthan and in other places, we might think that we are ameliorating their oppression, but sometimes we might also be excluding some women who, with that constraint, the families were at least allowing them to come to these institutions. So that would be my concern, sir. Because if it is leading to less
I'm not very clear. You speaking from both sides. Should we implement this uniform dress code, or we should have some nudging here and there?
sir, I think some flexibility should be given. Precisely because those who need the
But that
flexibility,
means you're going against the Karnataka High Court judge. That judgment, that's the last judgment that we have got because we can't count the Supreme Court split judgment as a judgment.
so it will go to a three-judge bench of the Supreme Court. And I would hope that the court rules in favor of some reasonable accommodation.
Till then, you are not agreeing to the idea of Karnataka High Court.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
All right, all right. We come out of this, and I would like you to give me a solution as a student of sociology for addressing the problem of Vidarbha farmers committing suicide. Don't give me Durkheim and then classification. Give me solution.
Um, so for Vidarbha farmers, the problem is twofold. The first is naturally geographical conditions like drought and so on. The second is unviability of the prevalent agricultural practices. So thinkers like Vandana Shiva, etc., they point out that the green revolution itself is a very narrow concept, and we need to move towards an evergreen revolution. And to do that, we must actually look at the crop histories, and genetic diversities of the region and bring out a model of agriculture that speaks to those variables. So, crop types that are drought resistant, that do not need this kind of water, that are more that tolerate a wide variety of climatic conditions, etc., from that region itself, and safeguard their genetic diversity and use it to revamp the agriculture. That would be the long term solution, sir.
All right. All right. Uh, Thank you, Shan. We'll stop it here.
Thank you, sir.